When studying history, you'll be frequently asked to analyse historical sources. However, many people don't know what this means or how to do it. In this video, I'll explain what source analysis is, give you a step-by-step guide to follow, and show you some examples to help you out. Let's begin. Welcome back to another history skills video. Today we're looking at how to analyse historical sources. Source analysis is one of the most important skills you'll need to develop when studying the past, and mastering it will help you achieve your best possible results. So what is source analysis? Source analysis is the ability to demonstrate a genuine understanding about why a particular historical source was made. It is important to remember that all historical sources were created for a reason. Even though we usually read sources in class to help learn about the past, almost no historical sources were originally made just to be read by students decades or centuries after they were created. Therefore, we use source analysis to discover why a specific historical source came into existence, including who originally made it, who they initially wanted to read it, plus more. Therefore, source analysis involves much more than just reading a historical source. It also requires you to conduct background research to discover who the author was and find out what was happening at the time the source was made. By the way, you are not meant to automatically know all of this information. Most of the time, you'll need to do some research about your source to successfully analyse it. If you need help, online archives and even Wikipedia can be helpful in conducting your background research. To provide a complete analysis of your source, there are 6 specific source analysis skills you need to use. They are information, origin, perspective, context, audience, and motive. An easy way to remember these 6 skills is to use the acronym IOP CAM. I've actually created individual videos about each of these 6 skills that go into much greater depth about each one. So if you're struggling with a specific skill, you can find the links to each of the additional videos in the description section below. In order to demonstrate a sufficient knowledge of the 6 analysis skills, you need to be able to answer the following 6 questions, one for each skill. Firstly, what information is stated in the source about the historical topic you're studying? Remember, a source can either explicitly state information or implicitly mention something. Secondly, what was the name of the person or people who created the source? Thirdly, from what perspective was the source created? Fourthly, when was the source created and what was happening at this time? Fifth, who was the intended audience of the source? And finally, for what purpose was this source made? Sometimes you may not be able to answer all of these questions, but you want to be able to complete as many as possible. Once you've answered these 6 questions, you are ready to write your full source analysis. So, how do you write a source analysis? A source analysis is usually a short paragraph that demonstrates all of the knowledge that you have discovered about the historical source. A simple source analysis can be written in just 2 sentences using the IOP CAM acronym from before. In the first sentence, mention the IOP part of the acronym, which is information, origin, and perspective. For example, this source is a personal letter that describes what trench warfare was like during World War I, and was written by John Smith, an Australian soldier. In your second sentence, mention the CAM part of the acronym, that is context, audience, and motive. For example, Smith wrote the letter on the 26th of April 1915, the day after the Gallipoli landing, to record his experience of the battle and was to be read by his family in Australia. As you can see, you can demonstrate significant knowledge of a source by writing an analysis paragraph like this. Of course, you can use more than 2 sentences if you need to. Now that you know what source analysis is and how to do it, let's look at a full example to increase your confidence in the process. The historical source we're going to analyse in this example is a very famous photograph from the Great Depression. After doing some background research online, we were able to go through the 6 elements of IOP CAM. Information. The image shows a mother and her children who are suffering economic hardship as a result of the Great Depression. Origin. The photograph was taken by someone called Dorothy Lang. Perspective. After some background research, we discovered that Dorothy Lang was an American photojournalist. Context: the photo was taken in March 1936, which was in the middle of the Great Depression in America. Audience: Lang took the photograph as part of her job working for the federal government's Resettlement Administration. However, we also discovered that her photographs were intended to be published in newspapers for the general public to see. Motive: the reason this photograph was taken was to raise public awareness of the economic toll of the Depression and the need for a solution. Now that we have answered each of the 6 questions, we can tie them all together and write a 2-sentence source analysis. Here is the result. The photograph by the American photojournalist Dorothy Lang shows the economic struggles caused by the Great Depression on a specific mother and her children. This image was taken in 1936 as part of a photographic campaign for the federal government's Resettlement Administration to raise public awareness through the publication of the photograph in newspapers across America. Now that you have a better understanding of what source analysis is, I hope that you feel more confident in your studies. If you need further explanations, examples, and advice, head over to the historyskills.com website, and I'll see you next time.